Now, everyone's making it in film and TV, but we don't really know how. Here, we uncover the truth. Welcome to the Your Cinema podcast. Welcome to the Your Cinema podcast today. This is the place where we explore the truth about the film and TV industry, and we hear it directly from those who are smashing it in their areas. This week we've got an amazing guest. She's a critically acclaimed actor. It's Dani Moseley. She does video games, voiceovers. She's also one of the stars, the key stars of Dreaming Whilst Black, as well as featuring in Daniel Kaluuya's upcoming project, The Kitchen, for Netflix. What's going on, Dani? How are you?
I'm all right. Actually, I'm good. I am actually really good. As you just said that, when someone asks you how you are, the easy is like, yeah, I'm fine. But it's just like, I'm one of these people. I don't like saying that because what is fine? I don't know what that is. So when someone asks me, I'm always like, how am I? And I'm like, no, I'm in a really good space. I'm really good.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to ask you two questions off the back of that. First and foremost, why are you in a really good place?
Because I'll be honest with you, this year has been it's been growth for me personally in my life and professionally in my life. And I don't usually get a balance. Usually one's doing great and the other's not doing so well and vice versa. But this is the first time in my life where they're actually balanced and I'm just cool with everything. And I've grown a lot. In terms of myself inwardly, and in terms of what I want for my life, in terms of what I want for my career, in terms of what I want generally with people around me, industry-wise and personally-wise. So it's just been a very transformative year, I'd say.
You know what, right? I guess I love that. And I'll come to my second point after we cover this bit, right? Given that we're people first, and feel free, you don't even have to answer this if I'm honest, but when you say personal growth, what are those things that have put you in a really good place personally? And the reason I'm asking is just because that can trickle down to impacting your professional life.
Therapy, massively. Therapy, solitude also, and that doesn't mean me being in a dark room all by myself. That just means me actually just spending time with myself. I journal anyway. That's something I always do. I think as a writer, it's just a natural thing for me to do anyway. So I like doing that. But yeah, therapy, definitely. And yeah, just having time with myself and journaling and realizing things I didn't realize before. And I'm like, oh, you've changed your perspective on that. When did that happen? How did that happen? And actually being like, oh, wow, you're cool with that now. That's nice. Because there's things in my life that have been going around and around. And I'm a very spiritual person, and having a Saturn return, for me, Saturn return is like you're a toaster and the toaster gets turned upside down and all the crumbs get shaken out. And basically whatever hangs on is what you'll have with you for the next 30 years. But it's about what are you willing to let go of and what do you need really? And what are you able to accept that you're ready to let go of and what are you not able to let go of? And I went to the Maldives for my birthday in September.
Come on, that's all right, isn't it?
And I was like, I deserve it. I haven't been on holidays in 3 years, so I'm gonna go. And I knew the person that was going to the Maldives wasn't the same person that was going to come back. There was things I was just going to let go of, and there was things I was going to say goodbye to, and there's things that I was then going to implement and allow space for. So that started to happen. So yeah.
Wow. Do you know what? It's amazing. Like, it fills me with joy to hear someone, especially an actor, right? Because it's such an emotionally challenging career. I was going to say role, but it's like, no, this is a career. So the challenges are every day, every audition that you get and don't get. All the rejection is one thing in itself. Do you know what I mean? Like whether someone's come out the gate and their career started there and in the next 5 years they haven't worked, or someone started and there's no work and then in 20, like it's a lot. So just hearing you say that, I don't know, it just actually fills me with joy, because I know how rigorous it can be. So no, that's good to know. The second question, right, is, so I'm very interested in, like, so if you weren't having a good day, how would you deliver that? And the reason why I say that is because two of our past guests, Armani Simpson and CJ Beckford, they they seem to be quite good at being able to articulate that without giving off too much. Like, do you know what? No, it hasn't been the greatest day, but like how would you have answered that? I'm just for my own personal,
How would I
just
answer that? Well, if I wasn't being interviewed, I'd just tell you because I can't keep a lid on my own mouth, so that's just ridiculous. But as I am, I just be like, you know what? I'm getting through it. I'm getting through it, and that's all I can do, and that is all I do when times
that.
are hard. I just get through it. So
I love that. Thank you. All right. So, you this wasn't the first time you came across my screen, but Dreaming Whilst Black was amazing, or is
great, right?
amazing. Yes, it's amazing. And, hopefully we get loads more series and commissions. I say we because I feel like it's my project as well, even though we're cheering from the sidelines.
All of our projects.
But specifically with your role, right, you are perfect for Amy, right?
Thank you.
I don't know. I'm not sure. How else can I articulate? Like, you played Amy so well that I would think that that is how you actually are. Like, that's the, like, just for me, right? Um, I want to know, how did that role come about for you? Because you were there when it was independent. Do you know what I mean? So, and it's been a 7-year journey. So a lot of the times, like, people that are jumping on the bandwagon now and all of that stuff, which is great. There was, like, in the trenches before that. So yeah, I want to know, how did that role come about for you?
So I had done a web series called Brothers of No Game, which I loved. And Ajani had seen me in that and had been considering wanting me to audition for Jim Ross, like web series. Now, I was also aware that being in a web series and one that was successful, I had seen others that had done other web series and they were kind of just doing that. They weren't doing that. And I was very much like, I don't want to be the web series girl that you just see. And I'd done The Bill and Doctors and EastEnders, and I was just like, that's not what, like, I did it because there wasn't anything going on at the time around 2012 and I wanted to do something and it suited me and it was good and it was black and I loved it. And so I only want to do projects that make sense to me. If I can have a career that does that, there are going to be ones that pay the bills, but if I can do ones that make sense to me, then I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I went to an improvisation night that a guy called Lionheart did with his two friends, Charles, called Subjectivity. And they were having an improv night where they were it was like a games night. And he was like, oh, Dani, can you come and be the one person that each group will get to do acting with? We'll throw something at you and you've just got to do it. And I was like, all right. So I got up there and Ajani was in the audience and I was going from Nollywood producer to Jeremy Kyle to being pregnant person, to just all these different things I was just doing. Met Ajani at the end. I was like, oh, hey, whatever. And he was like, oh, I've got this web series. And I was like, okay. Everyone does. And he was like, oh, I'd really like you to audition. I would like you to audition for it. Personally, I would just like to give you the role, but I'm with a team of people for Quarter Films, and we've all said that everyone has to audition. So I was like, yeah, that's fine. So I auditioned for Vanessa. And I was like, I mean, the project seems cool, but I don't really know much about it, but it's cool. So anyway, then I knew I did a good job. So then I got the email, and the email says, unfortunately. And I thought, unfortunately? Sorry? What? I thought, this is long. But as that line was that line, I saw there was more writing. And I was just like, what, are you going to ask me to support your web series and all this nonsense? I just thought this is long. And I thought, let me just read the rest of the email. And I read it, and it's like, unfortunately, we can't offer you the role as Vanessa, but we would love to offer you the role as Amy. And I was like, who the frick's Amy? Like, no one told me about this Amy, and I didn't audition for Amy. So who's that? So I was like, okay. And then it was kind of divine because at the time that they were I started to read some more of the scripts, and I was like, oh, this is really good, and what they're talking about and what they're saying is great. But they were supposed to be filming on a certain day that I couldn't do, and they couldn't change. So then Najani was like, well, could you find us an actor then? So I was like, yes. So then found someone and asked them if they could do it, and they said, cool. But then this date was supposed to happen, and I had another friend that was going to be filming it. So then he called me and he was like, oh, what's happened? I can't find where I'm supposed to be and I don't know where everyone is. And I was like, oh, I don't understand. So I messaged Johnny. I said, oh, my friend's trying to find out where you lot are. And he was like, oh, did you not get the message? We're not filming today. We had to cancel it. We should have emailed him. Like, you should have got that. I'm really sorry. And I was like, oh, you're not filming? He was like, no, we couldn't do it today. And I was like, so you filming another time? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, when? So you told me the date. And I was like, I mean, I'm free now. So then I was like, my other friend, you don't need to do it anymore. I'm good, girl. I got this. So then I was doing Amy.
Wow.
So then we did the web series. That did really well. Loved it. Brilliant. And then we won 36 awards worldwide.
Yeah.
Just things. That was amazing. And then obviously BBC got involved. And then Big Deal got involved then. BBC got involved. And then I remember Johnny was kind of avoiding me for 2 weeks. I was messaging him, but he wasn't really replying to me. But then he was replying to me on Twitter, and I was like, bro, don't reply to me on Twitter about something not interesting. Why have you not been replying to me? And he was like, oh, I've got to tell you something. So I was like, I'm thinking, oh no, they're not going to do DreamWorks. What's happening? He was like, they want you to audition for your role again. And I was like, oh. I was like, well, can't he? He was like, I've said to them, can't you just watch the web series? She doesn't need to audition. She's Amy, that's who we picked it. So he was like, long story short, if you don't audition, then they won't consider you. So I was like, all right. So then I auditioned, and I remember there was a woman there at the time in the room when I went in, and she was looking at me funny, and she's like, hey, and I was like, hey, and I thought she was looking at me funny because it's in oh, I haven't seen you in so long. But afterwards, I saw in hindsight that she looked at me like, I'm going up for your role, so why are you here? This is awkward, okay. But I didn't anyway. So I went in there, did the job, did well because I got picked. So then we did the table read. Table read went well. Everyone loved it. And then my agent called me and was like, hey, Dani, nothing to panic about. They're just going to put your role out again because they just want to check that they've got everybody that they want to see. And that's when I started to have anxiety attacks because I was like, what? I had the web series, you saw that. I auditioned for you, you picked me, we saw that. We did the table read, we got the pilot commissioned, you were all there, we were part of that. But I still, in my head, it was like, I'm still not good enough. And I remember when I heard that, I cried because I was just like, I don't know how much more I have to do to prove to you that I can play this role because what more do you need to see from me? I don't understand. And so then I had to wait 2 months until they'd seen who they wanted to see and deliberated, and then finally got told. And blessed Johnny, he's my friend. He called me. He was like, I've just had the meeting. You've got the role. And I was like, until my agent tells me, I can't really hear that because I need to officially hear it. But then she did. And that was for the pilot. So yeah, that was tough, but I'm sure everyone's happy now that I got that role because everyone seems to enjoy the performance I did. And I'm just like, it's divine in the sense of it was always mine. And it's a bit sad that I had to keep proving that, but it was mine. So, when it's yours.
Wow. Okay. So I wasn't expecting that. And first I want to say thank you for, your transparency and honesty because that sounds quite traumatic if I'm honest. I'm not even going to pretend that I know the extent to what you've gone through, but I just want to understand, right? especially being because there's two aspects, right? There's you being friends with Ajani, and then there's the show going to another level and other people having a say, right? But in you being friends with Ajani, because you've been on that trajectory for so long, like I'm guessing that's at least 4 years, maybe 4 to 5 years before we even get to the pilot, right? So you're Amy, like do you know what I mean? You've been on the shoots, the edits, maybe there's reshoots, the things that have gone wrong. It's like, that camaraderie has been built. What you mentioned that anxiety, you started having anxiety attacks, right?
Yeah.
What could you unpack that a little bit?
Just because I just kept hearing whiffs of things. And I didn't know when I was hearing these whiffs if that was it's yours or it's not yours. And I remember I would have black actors and black actresses message me and be like, yo, Dan, you must have some big job because I'm going up for Amy and Dream What's Black. Like, this is mad. And I'm just like, yeah, good luck, babe. Like, because I can't say anything. I can't say, no, I'm going up for it with you. And actually, I just have to wait. Like, to be in a position of you want your friends to do well, but it's your role. So that weird feeling of I want you to do your best and I want them to see what you're capable of doing, but you're going up for my role. That's mine. And that weird mix of supporting your friend, but also, or supporting your colleague, I'd say more than friend, but also having that feeling of, but it's mine. I've never been through it. I never want to go through it again, but it was the weirdest feeling to be in. And I remember my partner at the time was just like, well, you'll get another job like this. Like you're good. You'll be fine. And I was like, it made me realize this isn't a paycheck and this isn't a credit on my CV. This show is a movement. And I was part of it and I deserve to continue to be part of it. And it's part of my ethos in the stuff that I do creatively wise, which is creating positive change and doing that through telling stories. And this is that. So for that, I was just like, I don't believe that I was only just supposed to do the web series, but hey, I also knew that if it wasn't mine, for whatever weird reason, if it really wasn't mine, I said to Ajani, I will support it. I will share it. I will da-da-da. I can't promise I'll watch it. But I'll support it because it was like, that's a part of me that's being ripped away and I don't understand why. So yes, I was just very much like whenever he called me, I didn't know if he was calling me to say yay or to say, oh, just to let you know. So then I just had to say to him, look, I know this is really weird, but could you just not call me until this is all done? Because it's horrible. And yeah, it just wasn't nice. And I didn't know that the industry, I'd never been in that position before. I didn't even know that could happen. I was kind of like, well, if someone's played it before and someone's also auditioned and you've accepted, what is this? We're still just going to see if there's any other black actress out there that could possibly do this now. And I was just like, am I not good enough? I was like, have I got this all wrong? Am I not as good an actor as I thought I was? Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Okay, this is it's deep because as you're telling it, it's like Ajani is really riding for you, but then his hands are tied, and it's like, do you know why it's deep? Yeah, because so I think the first thing that I saw you in, or one of the first things that I saw you in, was a short film called Finish Line, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I saw that. I don't know. I don't think Dreaming Whilst Black came out before then, but I remember seeing you in that, and I thought the quality of the short film. I thought, oh yeah, that was good. That was good. And the reason I say that, right, is because there's like two main routes with acting in it. It's like you do like independent stuff, and then someone sees you, or you have a good agent, and then you get the jobs, right? And in you being an emerging actor up until that point, right, of getting this pivotal role, I know from all of our other interviews and chats with loads of actors, I know what it's like when it's like you just want the break, you just need that in, you just need that serious credit to tip the kind of roles that you're getting, right? And you, especially being a black female, not that it puts you at a disadvantage, right? But from statistics and stuff that I've read, like the roles that black females play is changing now, but typically they've been very, very extremely stereotypical on like big projects.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine the magnitude of the impact that had on your mental health. I know mental health is like a buzzword, but what you're explaining is like some genuine mental challenges that you probably weren't facing before, which is
And I think it was also a case of, how do you ever become a name if no one gives you the chance to be one? Like, when does that happen?
is
So I was just like, I don't know what. I literally, there was just nothing I could do. I was just like, it was the first time I was just like, I really just have to leave this up to the ancestors, the universe, whatever it is, to just make. Because my whole thing is, I want the project, because I believe in Dream Arts Black so much. I want
yeah.
it to have the right people involved. I don't want it, and if it isn't me, I can't. There's no fiber in my body that makes me explain why it is me, because I believed it was. But I was like, but if
Yeah.
for some weird reason it's not, then I'll take it on the chin. But I was just like, I don't feel like it's not me. So that's why it was so confusing. But like I say, I got it. The yay part of it is that I got it. And I don't know if I had that experience to prepare me for something else that might happen in the future. Like, I don't think anything happens by accident. But I also know that, like, that I was having a conversation with my friend today about proving yourself in the industry. Like, you get to a point where you're just like, I'm not doing that anymore. I don't need to prove to you that I'm good at this. Like, I've got enough to prove I'm good at this, and people still want me for things. So I know I'm good at this. So this isn't about my ability. It's about other people's perceptions and what they believe the people want to see, or what they think is going to be sellable or buyable. That we don't have control over. You just have to trust that the right person can see all the components, and trust the people in the project that's saying, like, I'm telling you, it's this person. Trust me, it's this person, that they listen. Because I don't know who else. It could have not worked out for me, and I don't know who that actually has happened to, because I'm sure it has happened to somebody.
Do you know what? It sounds like, all right, it sounds wrong to put someone through that,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm honest. I get the first audition because it's like, all right, cool, you guys did that. That's great. But we're putting, I don't know, hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds, whatever the budget is, into this. So, we have a say. All right, cool, I get that. But then to cast someone and then to just give them the runaround, I think there's a, 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 a sense of personal care that people should have. It's even making me think just a little bit more about, like, okay, make sure that you're treating people right, because they're not actors, they're people first, innit? Man, okay, wow. So how, all right, I'm going to ask you something, right? Being a black female,
Mm-hmm.
because I've never heard this runaround story before, right? Being a black female, do you think that puts you at a disadvantage, or there's some sort of difference in the way that you're treated or regarded?
Well, I well, yes, obviously, as a black actor in Britain, yes, in whatever gender or non-binary, yes, as a black person. And I don't know the reasons. I can speculate and say why I think it
Yeah,
happened. I don't actually
yeah,
know, because I've never had the conversation with anyone
yeah.
to do with who was of the decision making. They made the
Hmm.
decision, and now we are where we are now, and
Hmm.
they made the right choice. But yeah, like, I've gone up for things before Dream Arts Back even existed, where I was doing the build ups, the tenders, and I was doing all those types of things, and seeing mixed race women or light skinned women or women with straight hair. I remember an actor, and I don't he was giving me advice, and I get why he was doing it. But I remember when I was having a lull after 2013, and I had like a 3-year period where I didn't work. I had 3 auditions in 3 years, didn't work. And he was suggesting to me, or maybe you want to look at the headshots of actresses that are doing really well and try and simulate yourself with how they look, so that when casting directors are looking, they pick you as well because they're picking these people. Sounded right to get that. But I noticed that these black women had permed hair, had weaves, and I was just like, I've got Afro hair and I don't really want to be doing that. And I'd stopped straightening my hair from like 2012. So I was like, I don't really want to start doing that. And actually, if I keep doing that, that's all we're ever going to see. And I have to trust that, I have to believe that there is a world where we can have Afro hair, which is why, again, playing someone like Amy meant so much to me, because I know when I was doing Dream Not Back, the web series, I was doing different hairstyles and showing the different stuff that, you know, Afro hair can do. Obviously, when it got to TV, they had bigger budgets, other people doing my hair. But it was just like, it's all about, for me, Dream Not Back helps to normalize things that we don't see a lot of, so that people do understand that there's different array of black people living in different array of lifestyles. Like, there are spaces for the top boys, and there are spaces for the blue stories, and there's spaces for Dream Not Black, because black people's experience isn't one thing. There's a bunch of us, and we see loads of white and different, you know, we see the period dramas, and we see the westerns, and we see the crime dramas, and we see the medical dramas, and we see so many different walks of life of white people in Britain. It's just like, so why do we not see that in black culture? Why is it that I haven't seen a Desmond since Desmond's been out? We're still here. We're still doing that. You know, it seems that sometimes the industry latches onto a genre and thinks, that's it, we'll run with that. And for people that do not know what black culture is like and do not have black friends, it's important for them to see different kinds of black people. Because I went to university, and I remember on my last night in my 3rd year, a white friend of mine was drunk and was like, you know what, Dani, before I came to uni, I thought all black people just stabbed everyone and shot and just did drugs, but you're nothing like that. I was like, yeah. But I also get that he comes from a place where he doesn't have black people around him. So whatever the TV is showing him, that's all he knows. So let's see more multifaceted black people on TV, so we know that, you know, we're not so estranged, or it's not so fantastical. Like, there are other stuff going on. So I like the fact that we've had, you know, there was something on social media where someone was saying that they were tired of the top boys and they were tired of all sorts of stuff. And then, you know, they were saying, why aren't black creatives doing more to do more, like, you know, everyday stuff? And a lot of the black creatives were like, we are, but actually it's hard to get through if that's what the commissioners are saying that they want more of. They want more of those types of gang culture. They're going to do more of that. And actually, we can't pretend that it wasn't the top boys that got us through to this point. Let's not pretend that didn't happen. Like, everything has an evolution. So we actually needed that to then get in the rooms, to then start doing other stories, for those commissioners to trust those black creatives that they can do stories and they can do it well and they can get the viewership, and then trust them to do other stories. So it's like, it's all symbiotic and it's all needed and helpful. So yeah.
I love that. I love that you're switched on with the greater, what's the word? Perception is not the word. The ripple effect of doing a role and a project. Because sometimes it can be like, look, I just want to land this role. Yeah, the project's great, but I want to land this role because that's going to help me to get there, like to this next level with my career, etc. So yeah, I love that you're very aware of that, which I think is very important. Like for me personally, I just think that's very important.
Well, yeah, I've been doing it for long. Like, this is my 15th year, coming into my 16th year now of doing this. Yeah, I've been doing it for a while, and I'm just like, I don't need to be crack whore number 4 anymore. Like, not that I was ever doing that, but I was just like,
I was gonna say,
that's just not like, but I've had agents in the past that have said, hey, and I'm just like, no. And they're like, yeah, but it's working with this person and it's on this channel. And I'm like, listen, someone else that wants to get into the industry and wants to get a chance, let them go for that role. I'm not doing that. That there's enough of us around. I don't need to do that. So no, I don't want to do it. And I'm allowed to not want to do it. So
Oh my yeah. I love that stance. I wish a lot more people had that, but hey, each to
it's
their
hard
own.
because people will dangle money at you and people will dangle exposure and all of that sorts of stuff. And you want to eat and you want to be in those rooms. So yeah, you will do it. So I don't look down on anyone that goes for it. And actually, those roles are there, so
Yeah.
someone's going to do it, you know. So yeah.
Fair dues, fair dues. So right,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I really love Amy's role because I know a lot of females like that. Like across my life, I've seen so it's like I know Amy. I know that Amy. I know you. I know you. And I haven't seen you really like that. There haven't been that many black shows. Do you know what I mean? So I've seen it more in my life than I have on like TV or like a screen, right? Especially because there's not like an explosive thing about Amy, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I know who you are, right? So I remember when I first watched Dreaming Whilst Black, I was like, okay, cool, I know Amy, but something's gonna happen between Amy and Ajani because it's the love triangle, innit? I really thought because it's like the friends who maybe go a bit too
Everyone
far.
thinks you're a script writer.
Do you know? I thought, yeah, cool, that's gonna happen, cool, and it didn't, and I was like, oh my days, like that's even better because a lot of the time that's who the Amy's have been in my life. They're just the nice female that just wants to help and get you to where you're going, and it's purely platonic, right? In and amongst all the like the amazing storyline you had where you were conflicted at work and all of that stuff, right? I wanted to know, so that's just my personal perception, right? But I wanted to know for you, like, what was the importance of Amy in terms of like how black women are perceived?
Well, it's important that I think showing platonic friendships is important. I think it doesn't have to be like you're only close with someone if you slept with them,
Mm-hmm.
or if. And don't get me wrong, it could be start off like you might think, oh, and then it's just like, oh, no, actually, we're just friends.
Yeah.
I also think being a creative and being a black creative, our network supporting each other is important, and having that space where you can just be like, this isn't working the way that uni told us, or this isn't working the way that it's working for him. I don't understand. And us being like, tell me about it, bro. Like, I get it. Like having those spaces and having that community that get you and understand you in the way that other parts of your friends and family don't understand you and get.
Yes.
And also, again, with like, we haven't had many shows that in a comedy drama have shown. I think like something that you said that made me laugh is when you was like, I know Amy, I know her. It's so funny because when people see me out on the street, they're always like, where do I know you from? I know, who's, do you meet? And obviously then we talk and then they're like, oh my gosh, no, of course, Dream Months Black. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But I find it, considering people have noticed me from other things, people have known me from Brothers No Game, people have known me from The Bill, from other stuff I've done, it's the first time that people have been like, no, I know you. So I find it endearing that people are just like, no, Amy is someone that I know. Like,
Yeah.
I know her. That woman's in my life.
Yes.
And I don't think many people can watch things and be like, no. That's I know exactly who that is. It's not they can recognize it and see it and notice it, but it's just very funny that people was like, where have we? Because we must have parlayed or something. And I'm just like, I don't know who you are. And like, you sure? Because I feel like, I don't know. Like, are you an actor? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I thought. And I'm like, no, it's fine. But it's really endearing and it's sweet. And it's also bittersweet when I get DMs from people saying to me, oh my gosh, I loved Amy. I loved your character. It was triggering as heck, but because that's my life. And then you're just like, yay that you resonate and you feel seen, but I'm sorry that this is what you feel seen for. In that same breath. But also people also realizing that I'm not alone. I'm not the only black person in the office that feels like this. Actually, there's a lot of us in the office that feel like this, which isn't great, but we know we're not alone, which means we can be there to support each other. And I think, again, Amy being able to express herself through her hair, something that the hair and makeup team, which I really want to big up, costume, Jodie Simone and her team, and big up Cynthia De La Rosa and her hair and makeup team, because I've never been in productions where they want to say something without words. Like, you've got the script and that's your words, but actually how can you say things that don't need it? So Jodie Simone using costume to say things like the Grenfell t-shirt, and having jewelry that says enough is enough when I was talking to my boss at the end, like just little things like that. And also in terms of hair and makeup, like my hair gets bigger through the episodes. I don't know if you even noticed that. And that was like, I'm getting more confident. And also like my color scheme and my clothing gets more louder and gets bigger and brighter because Amy's starting to come out of herself and being like, I'm done with you lot. So just little things like that you're just like, these little things that you wouldn't notice, but actually when you think about it and watch it, you think, wow. And that comes through in terms of, as well as the script, as well as the acting, but actually those things as well. And I will also say, I'm so grateful to those two teams, especially for me, because I've never been on a set. Well, I've done some stuff afterwards, but I've never been on a set so much where all I've had to worry about is my acting.
Wow.
I'm always worrying about my hair. That gel thing looks a bit weird. Why they put that in my hair? And this top's a bit tight. And when they're doing this, and who wears bell bottoms at this point? All of this sorts of stuff. I'm always like having to worry and like check in the mirror and check like, this person, like, does that look okay? So I can't focus on my lines. I can't focus on my intentions. There's all this other stuff. Whereas Dream Arts Back is the first show where I have just been able to go on set and be myself. And I'm gonna say that's my performance. When all you have to worry about is acting, and you can fly, you can have fun, you can express yourself and be who you want to be, because that's all you have to worry about. And there is not many jobs that I can say that. So I feel like my performance is due, as well as the writing, obviously, and the other actors, but it's due to those departments.
You said something that I've never thought of, right? Because we hear the hair conversation. Do you know what I mean? It's been going on for like about a year or two. Where it's like, oh, we need black hair and makeup. And I'm not even saying it in a way to trivialize it. It's like, no, it's really important, because actors who aren't black have that, and it works fine. But then now we have to do our own stuff, and as well as act. I've never thought about it from the perspective of, if I have to focus on other things other than my performance is actually going to be affected.
Yep.
So basically, it's even more. It's more important than we realize. Or I would ask you, like, is it more important than we realize? Because essentially, black actors, when black hair and makeup isn't sorted, you're now affecting our performance.
Yeah, because you don't know if you've then had a traumatic experience on set before you go on set. I mean, if someone made you feel rubbish about yourself and you knew you had to do a presentation, do you think you would do a better job doing a presentation if someone made you feel rubbish about yourself before you went on that stage? Or do you think you'd do a better job if actually everyone empowered you and bigged you up and made a better version of yourself? Which presentation do you think in that scenario is going to bring the best outcome for you? And if you've been in the makeup room and you're crying before you have to go on set, or you're redoing your makeup in your trailer before you have to go on set, or the clothing that you're wearing is too tight, and so you're not thinking about your lines, you're thinking about how that waistline is now pinching into you, and also realizing that the shape of your body is not the shape of the clothes they've got for you, because they've just assumed that everybody's body shape is the same. So just, this is what it is. And another beautiful thing is the hair and makeup and costume team, they spoke to me about what their ideas for Amy were, and they asked my opinion, whether they use it or not, or whatever, but we had a conversation. Like Jodie Simone's mood board for Amy was just like, I was like, what? This is great. Like, this is mad. And then even to have like a tweet of someone saying, Amy's giving Issa Rae a run for her money on this hair thing, man. But I was like, I will take that. I will take it, because Yeah, and I was just, but again, on British TV, when do we see that? When do we hear that? When is that really a discussion that we talk about? People are talking about my performance, but they're also talking about my hair and they're talking about costume, which they just doesn't happen. You don't watch shows and have conversations about what people look like as well as their performance. Like, everyone deserves their flowers on this project, honestly.
Oh my days. You said something. You said you said you said like crying in your trailer before you have to go on, right? And I just realized something that I think that put into perspective is like when you land an acting job, right? It's a big deal. And out of the however many days or years that a person hasn't worked, they've it's like, okay, now this is my time to perform, and you've got me looking like a clown. Like you don't even realize that you're messing up my role on this job that may make these people think that I'm not good and is going to impact whether I get other jobs. Like, don't, I just, when you said that, I was like, oh, it is that deep.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And also, like, let's not get it twisted. Social media, people talk.
Yeah.
If someone's talking about a scene and there's more tweets about the fact that your wig is off point than they are about your performance. What are we doing here?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Wow. Okay. All right. So, Amy. I want to know, how has playing Amy like impacted your career?
It's done wonders. Honestly, I don't. It's done wonders. It's got me American representation, and
Come on.
I didn't even apply. Like, they came to my agency in the UK. Yeah, they came to us and was like, "We want her," and that was off of the hype. That was off of the reviews, and then my agent has cut up some scenes from Dream Months Back and put it on my show reel. So when she spoke to the person, she was like, "Oh, so you enjoyed the series?" And he was like, "Oh, I haven't seen it." And she was like, "Sorry." And he was like, "Oh, no. Like, I've heard the hype, I've read the reviews, and I saw her show reel, so I've seen the scene she's done. I get it. She's great. Yeah, let's talk." And I was just like, whereas Dani, who's wanting to be an actor since she was 8 years old, who's been clamoring, trying to like, I would like to be in your agency. Like, that's, all of that. And I'm just thinking, wow, that just happened. I'm being seen for bigger and better roles. I'm having casting directors tell me that they're fans of mine now. Like, it literally, I knew what Dreaming Wax Black could be for me because I knew what I could give to it, which is why it hurt when I had to wait, when they weren't sure about me. And also I knew once I got it, I was going to show you why I got it. And I didn't even know the reception that it was going to get. Because even when people tell me that they think it's great and all this sorts of stuff, for ages, I was just like, I don't understand. I was talking to my best friend. I was like, Babs, I don't understand why everyone keeps saying that it's so good. I don't get it. And then I realized, because people don't know what I can do. And actually, I always thought like a big performance and a well done was like, I'm crying, I'm emotional, I'm breaking down. And my best friend was like, and you're learning that it ain't that. Actually, when you're just truthful in the performance that you do, that's enough. That will resonate, that will engage, and that's enough. And I was like, oh yeah, which is what I try to do all the time. Okay. Nice.
You see, and that is why we love Amy, because we know her, because you played her truthfully. Do you know what? I love it. Sometimes you feel something and you just get something, but I think you just articulated that amazingly, or you and your best friend, because for me, one of the realest actors, right, is Shaq B. Grant, because he does that. What you just said.
I love him so much. He's so great. I worked with him on Everything I Know About Love, and he's just, from when I met him, I was like, you're in my tribe. Like, we're like, I love him.
is like he can be anyone, upper middle class, from the hood, whatever, and you believe it. It's like you said, it doesn't have to be a huge performance, and I'm sure he can do that. I'm sure you can do that. But it's like, it's not just that, because acting is portraying life, and so then life has to be truthful. And like, yeah, that is. Thank you for helping me find those words. Okay, amazing, amazing, amazing. So I wanted to know, right? Like you mentioned, like with like having a mood board from costume and having like discussions with hair and makeup, etc., right? I want to know, like, when you get a role, how much are you able to bring you to the character? Because I know Dreaming Whilst Black is one thing, and that's a particular, like you said, it's a movement. It's not just a project, right? Hence the back and forth in terms of input that you were able to give. But is that a normal thing? Like, and if not, how do you? And is it important for you to bring yourself to the character, or like, yeah, just how do you
Well,
deal with
to be fair, well, I'm only going to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie, but
it?
this is obviously my first lead supporting role.
Yeah.
So this is my first role where I've been throughout the entire series, which means I get to have more attention put on what I wear and what I look like because I'm throughout the series. Whereas I've always been a guest lead in things, so
Yeah.
I'm only in there for like one episode. However, I did two other TV jobs this year, just one episoders, and I mean, one of them doesn't count because one of them was with someone I've worked with before, so that's fine. But one of them was like, my agent has stipulated that I have to have someone that knows how to deal with Afro hair. And if you don't have that, then get someone. Because what we're not going to do is that, because every time, like you said before, and this is what's reminded me actually, thank you. When you book a job, you're so like, I want to get this job. You do the recalls, you get down to the last two, you do your chemistry read, you get it. Yay. Then your next anxiety is, what are you going to do with my hair?
Wow.
That's the next thing. I always worry about that. I'm worried, like, so what are we going to do now? What am I going to have to fight with to make this work? And what are we going to do to make it comfortable? Are you going to protect my hair? Which is what I do love about Cynthia De La Rosa and her team, is that they have a whole thing about protecting your hair. They're going to put it in wigs, if they're going to put it in braids, if they're going to tongue it or do whatever. It's a conversation. What are you comfortable with? What are you not comfortable with? And how are we going to protect that hair whilst we're doing those styles, so that the condition that your hair came in, unless it wasn't great to start with, the condition your hair came in, you leave with that same condition. It's not mash up, which it can be like, they're just like, this is what you need to look like for this. We'll do whatever we need to do to make it look like this, and whatever happens afterwards, you're just going to have to deal with that. So have fun with that. So because I've only been like guest leads, I went through a transition where from the bill, bar one job where I did a Sky One job in South Africa where they needed to do my hair, I've always done my hair myself. So I would come to them and I'd be like, so this is the different styles. So you just pick what you want me to do, and I would turn up on set with my hair like that. And they'll be like, oh yeah, because that would just, if you're all right with that. And it's like, I'm not. But actually, I won't be all right if I go on set and you mess it up. So I was just very used to doing my own hair. So I never had to worry about that. Makeup's not been too bad. Generally, they'll get the pigmentation right. So I've never had too much of a worry with that. But hair, I just before Dream Whilst Black, I was doing it.
Wow.
So when you see me in EastEnders, you see me in Doctors, you see me in, I've done
it. Wow, that is a shame. Yeah, a huge shame. A huge.
It's changed, and it is a shame, but also it was. I'd rather I do it than me be on set, just like keep doing this, like looking.
The lesser of two evils, basically. Yeah. I hear you.
So yeah, but it's with people like Cynthia De La Rosa, it's getting better. It is. I'm very grateful to her.
Wow. No, I love that. Now it seems we're in a very, very important transition phase in terms of like how Black culture is perceived and interpreted, especially in terms of like the stories and roles that come under each production. Why would you say, and if you agree, right, why would you say this time is so important?
Because we've never had this, and I've said it before. Like, I really don't want this to be a moment in time. I don't want to be. Do you remember 2023 when it was all great? Do you remember how that was it? Remember that? I really don't want that to be, and I don't want all the shows that we're seeing, the shows that have yet to come out that are predominantly Black shows. I don't want it to be performative. I don't want it to be like, you had your time, calm down. Let's get back to, because it's just like, get back to what? What are we getting back to? We're still here. We've always been here. And we don't want to have to keep. One thing I will say about my peers is that, you know, the whole one in, one out. There's one of us in, and when I saw myself, I'll get you in. And like, it's not a one in, one out anymore. I kind of feel like what's happened is one of us has got in, and then they've put their foot in the door, and they're like, clambered in. And they're like, what? But no, he was always here. What? No. You've always been around. Do you not know? No, come on. And so so going to events now, I'm seeing more of my Black peers, and I'm just like, yes, yes, yes. And like, sometimes you hear people like in Hollywood, and they're like, they're friends and they're friends. I'm like, this is what we're doing. Because we want to support everybody, and and especially when we know that people have been grinding and thriving and doing well and not getting their flowers. And we're just like, no, you deserve your flowers. So when we get it, we're going to be shouting it from the rooftops, and we're going to be pushing it forward. But it's just beautiful to see that, like your Shappi Grants, and there's loads of people that I could mention. There's loads of beautiful people that are doing beautiful things. And in theatre as well, the Bush Theatre is doing a lot of things. Like, I love the fact that Red Pitch is now going to be.
I know, right?
We deserve to have good staff. And there's so much good stuff. And I'm tired of commissioners commissioning stuff that isn't good. Even us as a Black community being like, what is that? And then commissioners being like, well, we tried it and it wasn't good, so this is why we're going to commission it. And it's just like, no, because you didn't do your due diligence, and you just thought, we'll just pick the first one because we know someone who knows someone, and that'll do. And actually, rather than what's good, and now I believe I'm seeing good Black content. I'm like, yes, let's have more of that. So yeah, I'm excited, and I just hope we just keep pushing and pioneering. And I have other friends that are writers and producers, and they're producing and writing stuff that are great. So I want their stuff to get picked up, because it deserves to be seen like anyone else's shows.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. So yes, we are definitely in a transition, and I feel like this project, The Kitchen, is definitely a part of that. Because like, it's a first in some respects, like, I think one big thing off the bat is like, Daniel's first film, let's say, in terms of, because he co-directed it with Kibwe, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that is like, everyone all across the world is going to be like, okay, cool, let's see, like, we want to watch. But then it's also like UK, like our culture, and got that dystopian kind of feel. Like, it's huge. I feel like it's going to be a pivotal mark when we look back in terms of like, that project, right? What was it like being a part of that?
I mean, it was unexpected, I think, for me, because I just thought I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't know everyone that was involved in it. And shout out to Aisha Bywaters. I love her as a casting director. She's just great. She's such a champion for Black artists or highly melanated people in general. She's just on it. And I've already said to her, anything she puts me up for, whether I think it makes sense to me or not, I'm going up for it, because she knows what she's doing. She's very good at her job. So yeah, and it was just like, my scene is small, and people keep saying to me, stop saying that. But it is. We're not doing that. But I'm also just like, but it took 2 days to do that scene. Wow. Well, it took a whole day basically to do that scene. But we had to keep like, anyway, there's scuffles and stuff like that, and there was a lot of like action that was happening. And what people sometimes forget is that when you're filming these things, you can do 40 takes of the same thing just to get it right. And that was quite a big choreographed moment that was happening that, and it was just like doing it again and again and again. I remember I was doing a theatre job and I had to shout, and after like I don't know the 20th take, I was like, I've got a show tonight. I actually can't keep shouting now because I can't lose my voice because I've got to do a show, which is a beautiful problem to have. Like who's filming a film in the daytime?
Oh, so this happened while I was doing the kitchen.
Yeah, I was doing a theatre show.
Oh.
I was doing a show with Ray Fiennes. I think. So yeah, name drop.
Oh my days!
And they let me. Thank you, Bridge Theatre. They let me film for the kitchen, but they were like, she has to be back by this time. But also, I also have to make sure that I can talk on stage. So yes, that was just a lot, and just not understanding, and then like finishing the scene, and then like 2 days later, just having all these scrapes, and just being like, where do I get that? And just realizing like, oh yeah, because you got attacked, and so yeah. But it was fun, and it was crazy, and it was like real. But you felt safe on set as well. There was like choreographers and the stunt people that I worked with. He was just like, you go as hard on me as you want, but you let me know, I'll be as gentle as I can. And then after every take, like, are you okay, Dani? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, give it, like, let's get a shot. Do you know what I mean? But also after like 30 takes, being like, okay, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just gonna calm down. But it was great. And then I had another day that they didn't use in the end, but just being emotional and I think again, every time I'm on set and every time I do another project, I push myself a little bit. Like, can I cry like that? And I remember there was the scene that they didn't use in the end where something happened, but I don't want to say anything, and I got emotional. I remember I was like clamoring, doing whatever, and I was in a van and they shut the doors. And as soon as they shut the doors, I knew that the camera was going to finish filming. So I was like, and as soon as they shut the door, then I was like, and the actress near me, she was like, what? My girl's busting eye water. And all of a sudden, she's just all right. Like, she's sick, you know? She like, just like proper, just like, and me just being like, oh yeah, not everyone can do that. That's kind of cool. Okay, cool. Yeah. And just like, you know, but just, and I guess just for testing for myself and also working with Daniel and being a fan of his and meeting him from before and knowing him and just being proud of him, of how well he's doing and getting to talk to him about his journey. And it's just lovely. It's just really nice to know that someone's talented and is actually a cool person as well.
Yeah, I got you. Oh man. Well, Dani, it has been a pleasure speaking with you today. Yeah, it's been an amazing year for you. Long may it continue.
Yes.
And yeah, man, we're gonna catch up 2024.